here are the 7 things that I do to help overcome my military PTSD. And this also can apply to regular everyday people as well too, not just military. And by the end of this video, you will have a better understanding of what I do and what could possibly help you out as well too. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jason and this is Create Your Reality, where I help you create the reality that you want. Before we start the video, if you could please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the bell notification for future videos. Okay, let's get into this. So, the 7 things that I do to help me overcome my PTSD due to the military. And just to give a brief overview of myself, I did 2 combat tours while I was in the Marine Corps. I served in the years of 2004, 2008 with 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines, Lima Company. So, like I said, did 2 combat tours, one in Afghanistan and the other one in Iraq. So, long story short, I was infantry rifleman, saw some stuff, got PTSD. So, got out of the military and had a hard time adjusting into the civilian world and the usual drinking a lot and having behaviors that are not necessarily healthy mentally and physically. So, I quit drinking and I got into the 12-step program. Some people call it AA or, whatever you want to call it. If you have a drug problem, then, there's NA and all that stuff, but I never had that. So, I was more of a AA person. But so anyway, in doing so and quitting drinking, it helped me become aware of a lot of things that was going on internally in my mind. So, just a brief overview of what, and this is just my opinion, I'm not a doctor or any type of stuff, but what is PTSD? And what PTSD is to me is basically you encounter an environment or an event that had an impact on your psyche and that you can't let that go. So your mind is on repeat of an event that has an emotional quotient that elicits, a feeling of, either danger, sadness, a threat, whatever it may be, and you just keep getting taken back to that reality through thought alone. So then, we need to figure out ways to overcome this through certain processes. So to me, that's what PTSD is. It's just basically you are stuck in the past with thoughts that you need to let go because it's not going to be healthy for you in the future. So, and in doing so, it can definitely become this very vicious cycle because some of us turn to drugs, drinking, all sorts of stuff, and we're just putting a Band-Aid over the problem instead of overcoming it and facing it head on. So, without further ado, let's get into the 7 things that I do. So, number 1 on the list, therapy. Therapy is very important. Some people don't like talking about their problems or their feelings, but in order for you to overcome this, you're going to have to. You're going to have to, kind of buck up, swallow your pride a little bit, and get some form of therapy, rather it be going to the VA. I know some people have a little bit of hesitation going there, but it's a resource to use. You never know. You may get lucky in finding a social worker and also a psychiatrist, or it's a psychologist, one of the ones that deal with meds. So those 2 together, talking about your stuff and getting on a med that can help you out. I take a low dose because I'm not truly for all that stuff as a crutch, but it helps. But one of the best ways to overcome this stuff is to talk about it and deal with it head on in a professional manner. So therapy is big. Whether you go to the VA or if you go through a private organization, Or there's things like, I live in Illinois, so there's something called the Vet Center, where they have a social worker who is a vet that you talk to about your problems, and they give you tools about it. So, because, I know people would rather talk to somebody who is at least a veteran of the military, because they could have somewhat of a better understanding. So there's that. The other thing too within this whole therapy thing is, I personally like it, hypnosis. Hypnosis is not one of these things where, the wave a clock in front of your face and you start talking like a chicken. Not how that goes. You are completely aware of what is going on when you are going through hypnosis. It's basically, they get you in a very relaxed state to where you're calm and you don't have any really conflicting thoughts going on, or any of that emotional stuff that is being brought back from your PTSD events. And then they start rewiring your subconscious mind to help you let it go and overcome it. So it could work for you. It works for a lot of people. Some people, it may not. But again, that's where having an open mind comes into when it comes to therapy. If you truly want to get better, you're gonna go through different lengths to test different things out until you find something that works best for you. So we got therapy. The other thing is, number 2, exercise. It's very important. It's a great stress relief, releases endorphins, it challenges your body. And if you have excess energy from constantly being in that fight or flight mode due to your PTSD, this will help alleviate some of those issues. So I am getting recertified again as a personal trainer, not to necessarily train people, but I just like doing it. I just like doing the whole fitness realm, and I just like to have that under my belt for my knowledge on how to, train myself better, or if somebody wants to, then I can be of service to them. But I just like fitness in general because it's a very healthy thing to do, to start reprogramming your mind to start feeling better and give it a positive outlet. So that's number 2. Number 3, having some hobbies. Hobbies are great. They keep you occupied, but the thing is that you don't want to have a hobby where it occupies you to where you are doing it in a sense to where you use it as an escape to truly push away your issue. That's not what that's for. It's there to help you get out of yourself for a moment of time, and you start practicing doing that. So again, exercise could be a hobby. Martial arts, big fan of that stuff. So I continue to study the martial arts, playing guitar, things of that sort. It's helping you train your brain to stay in the present moment. Even if you have some issues coming up where you feel that can help you stay in the present moment and kind of all right, well, I'm dealing with this right here, but for the time being, I'm going to enjoy my time doing this hobby. And if you train yourself or train your mind enough to do it, it starts really alleviating a lot of that emotional turmoil of what's going on with your PTSD. But again, you don't want to do it to where you are using your hobby to run away from your issue. That's not what it's about. So, keep that in mind when, looking at hobbies that you like to do. Some people like cooking. I'm a professional chef. I have my own, food truck style business. And that definitely keeps me busy a lot of the time. And it's fun work. It's a lot of work, but it's fun work, and it keeps me busy. So finding hobbies that can be healthy mentally for you. Number 4, one of my personal favorites, and I know I get kind of a little cringy look sometimes, it's meditation and mindfulness. Now, I hear all the time, I wish I could meditate, but I'm not good at it. Or I tried it, it just doesn't work. Well, the reason why it doesn't work is because you haven't done it long enough. You don't need to be a pro at it from the get-go. And of course, probably the first time that you meditate, your brain's probably going to be all over the place. And that's exactly its way of telling you that it's working. Because you're sitting there with your thoughts. And meditation is not about just stilling your mind and not thinking about nothing whatsoever. That's a bunch of nonsense. Meditation, in the brief sense of what it means, is to get to know yourself, or to become aware of. So, your mind's racing, sit down, you practice relaxing. You take a deep breath. You are basically controlling, at that point, your autonomic nervous system to calm down through breathing, and that if you have these thoughts that are bothering you, it's because there is an emotion attached behind it. If you get rid of the emotional quotient, or overcome the emotional quotient, you will overcome whatever thought that's bothering you. So it's basically like, here's you right here, you're meditating, right? And then you get that thought that starts floating by. But that thought also has a force field around it that you are going to be in its field of energy, and you feel that. So a lot of the times the people will grab onto it, they'll start to look at it from different angles to try to figure it out, tinker with it, all that. But you know what that does? It creates a never-ending web of you being stuck in that pattern. So the whole thing with meditation, and this is just one form of meditation, is you observe it, you don't judge it, like you're observing it from a third-person perspective. Like you see yourself out on like the football field and there's a game going on, but you are a spectator watching, and you observe it without judgment. It's like, okay, well, this is going on. Okay, it may look a little chaotic or whatever, but it is what it is. And the more that you do that, you start to tell your mind that these thoughts are not important. And then when that happens, they start to go away. Now, is it going to be 100% perfect? No. But that's just a brief overview of what meditation is. It's to look at things from a third person without judgment. So you observe it without judgment. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So then you can start sitting longer and longer periods of time and some quiet time with your eyes closed as you take some deep breaths. Because when you do that, you are learning how to self-regulate your emotions and your thoughts. But again, there are many other different types of meditation, and some of the meditations that we will cover on here is manifestation meditation, visualization, affirmation type stuff. And this is just a brief overview. So that is number 4. Number 5, having a support network. So you go to like a local veteran support group, go to your VFW, you go to American Legion. I'm a part of the Marine Corps League. So those are great support networks to be with like-minded individuals. And if you're having an issue, you talk about it with someone that you feel comfortable with, and they will help guide you to the right resources. I know from experience, especially while being in the Marine Corps League. Now, there is one thing though, is that when you join these organizations, do not be that person where they go there just to trauma bond. Because if you're going to trauma bond, you're not going to get better. You're just going to keep talking about your problems over and over and over again. All right. And if you want to get better, you got to acknowledge your problem. You talk about it to the qualified people, but stop bringing it up, because then you're going to start getting comfortable with that. And that starts to become your identity. You do not want that to happen. My trauma is not who I am. Okay, it's part of my life, it happened, whatever. But that is not my identity, is the key difference here. Because if that starts to happen, then it starts to bleed into victimhood. And we are not victims. We're all about being empowered on this channel. Some people might have gone through nasty stuff, and that, it's unfortunate. It is not their fault, and it is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to overcome it. That's just the way it is. I had no choice in certain things that happened, but it is my responsibility to overcome it, because if I don't, then I could drag other people into my mess. Like if you have a family, kids, whatever it may be, you do not want to drag them into your stuff. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that if you are going to leave something untreated, that is not fair to them. If you're getting the help and certain things happen like flare-ups or whatever, that's normal. That happens. But at least you are going out and getting the help that you need. So that's why it is important to have a support network. That is number 5. Number 6, volunteering. Volunteering kind of goes back to number 5. If you join a military veteran or a veteran organization, well, you're doing some service work. You're helping other people out. You can do some parades. You can do fundraising. You can bring mental health awareness towards military veterans. Fantastic way to help get out of yourself and find purpose in life and helping others out that have some of the same issues or problems that you do, because then there's that common, understanding. And like I said again, you don't want to trauma bond, but you want to have an understanding, but then provide hope to people that they can recover too. That's very key and crucial. So that's number 6. And then number 7 is to have boundaries and also prioritize self-care. Boundaries and self-care, huge. If you do not take care of yourself, and if you let your mental health go, because sometimes we think that if we do something for ourselves that we're being selfish. Not the case, all right? In self-care, look at it as a healthy form of being selfish. You have to take care of yourself first before you take care of others, because if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't be of service to other people. So that's why you have to have these boundaries. And if you feel like something is not feeling right with you, or if you are around a group of people that are just toxic, well, there's that boundary right there. All right. You got to know that that's not healthy for you. So then you take yourself away from that and then find another group of people that can be healthy for you and inspiring for you too. But again, it goes to self-care. You got to take care of your mental state before anything else. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing like, you're being a wuss or whatever, because I know when we're in the military, when we're doing combat missions and stuff, and people are afraid to talk about what's ever going on up here because they don't want to be called, this or that and all that. Well, we're out now. We don't have to worry about that. And there's nothing wrong with getting the help that you need so you can have some self-care. Okay. And it's evident when someone is not taking care of themselves, because one of the first things that goes is their hygiene. They let their hair go. They may not smell good, so you can just kind of tell. And if you see that with your fellow veteran or just fellow friend in general, ask them, hey, pull them aside, what's going on? Give them a call, check up on your buddies, whatever it may be. I always do that at least, once a week. I call up some of my veteran buddies to see how they're doing, and don't be afraid to feel that you are being a burden. They probably are thankful that you called them. So don't be afraid to do that. So that is number 7. But in conclusion, these are just some of the things that I do. There's also other things too that I will cover on this channel. But at the end of the day, there is nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, asking for help if you need it. There is nothing, belittling, because some people may think like, oh, my pride is hurt, or, that's not the manly thing to do and all that. Screw all that stuff, all right? This is your health, and you need to take care of it. Mentally, physically, and even spiritually. Because if you don't get the help that you need, you can also drag others into that form of toxicity, especially for ones that are married and have kids. If you're constantly waking up with nightmares and, having violent mood swings and all that stuff, your family doesn't need to see that. And most of all, it doesn't need to go untreated. If you have these episodes, it's fine. At least be getting the help that you need and to treat this stuff, and stay proactive with this, because if you are getting the help that you need, that could also indirectly inspire another veteran or another person to get the help that they need. So that's why it's imperative to make sure that looking at these 7 ideas that I gave you, that if, this is a good platform or a good blueprint, check into this stuff, because it'll help you out and also help out your fellow friend as well too. So as we take this video to a close, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it becomes informative and in planting the seed and for you to get the help that you need, if you need it, that is. So if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, and the like button for future videos so I can get it out to you, so I can help inspire you to create the reality that you want. My name is Jason, and I will see you in the next video.